My beloved, I write to you as I often do, with a heart full of thoughts that could scarcely be contained in words. The days grow long when you are not near, and though I endeavor to occupy myself with matters of the world, my thoughts always return to you.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm setting up my February bullet journal with a cozy vintage love letter theme. It just felt right for this time of year. I've been practicing calligraphy for about a year now, mostly with brush pens. My go-to is the Tombow Funosuke soft tip brush pen. It's been a favorite of mine, but by the end of this setup, I could definitely tell it was starting to run low on ink. I might need to pick up a new one soon. I also have a dip pen with a few different nibs, but the quality isn't that great and I've never really found one I love. So if you have any suggestions for a decent budget-friendly calligraphy dip pen or fountain pen, I'd appreciate it. On the first page, I'm adding this quote, which says, "Because sending a letter is the next best thing to showing up personally at someone's door." I used a pencil compass to make 3 light circle guidelines. First, I wrote the words in pencil to make sure that they all fit, following the guidelines to ensure that the words curve with the lines. I've been watching a lot of pen pal videos lately, people creating beautiful personal letters to send to their friends around the world. And I've been thinking about doing more of that, especially to my mom, who lives in South Africa. We don't get to see each other too often, so sending letters, postcards, and little pieces of ephemera seems like a good way to stay connected. By the way, my mom loves junk journaling. She even has a YouTube channel where she shares her creations. I'll link her channel below if you'd like to go and say hi to her. For the cover page, I decided to use some homemade coffee stain paper. I made a whole batch of this last year and I love the warm vintage look it gives. I folded it like a little note to give it some texture and character. I really enjoy using this coffee stain paper or tea stain paper, but I'm running low on it, and since I don't have an oven to dry it, I usually leave it out in the sun. The weather's pretty rainy lately though, so I haven't had a chance to make more, but if you'd like to see how I make it, let me know and I'll put together a video on it. I wrote a love letter on the note, imagining a young woman writing it to her far away lover, telling him how much she misses him, how empty her days are without him, and how she can't wait to be with him again. Because, I don't know, maybe he's far away somewhere. Maybe he's at war. She does end up including a little photo for him to remember her by. I've been absolutely obsessed with this Cats and Books washi tape from the washi tape shop. It's perfect for these vintage themes. Moving on to the calendar. It's pretty similar to the one I used in January because, well, if it works, I'm sticking with it. It gives me enough space to write down appointments and events for the month. I also added a media tracker, to-do list, and an events list next to it. This spread is my most used. I flip to it almost every day, whether it's to check off tasks or see what I've got coming up. As I was setting this up, I realized just how much letter-themed ephemera I've collected over time. I have postcards, stamps, and some postage sticker sheets that I haven't had the opportunity to use yet. I guess I've been saving them for the right project, and this setup felt like the perfect time. Most of the ephemera that I'm using is from Paper World and Notebook Therapy. I'll link everything down below for you if you want to check it out. Next, I set up my favorites for February spread. It's not quite a habit tracker, but more of a space where I can write down the things that I'm into this month. I like to look back at the end of the month and remember what I was reading, watching, cooking, playing, or just what I was up to, what I was enjoying. It's a nice way to capture those little moments. Each postcard I'm using has a bit of room for me to write down my lists. I also added a small envelope I made from the coffee-stained paper scraps to add some additional fun activities. First, I have my reading list for all the physical, Kindle, and audiobooks I read for the month. This one usually only has 2 or maybe 3 books, unless I end up binging an audiobook series while I'm working at my desk. Cooking is for any new recipes that I try out. I like to make sure that I try something new every week. Playing is for writing down any PC, Xbox, or board games I play by myself or I play with my friends. Watching is for the movies and series or YouTube channels I watch. Speaking of, remember to subscribe to my channel for more bullet journal content and show me that I'm one of your favorites. In the envelope, I'll write down any fun activities or outings with my friends. It's just a simple way to document things I'm enjoying throughout the month. Next up is my habit tracker. I used some normal printer paper to plan out a simple envelope pattern with 2 parts. Here are the dimensions that I used in the envelope to fit into my original size notebook therapy journal. For the actual envelope, I used some craft paper and traced the pattern onto the paper before cutting it out. I used an envelope scoring board to make the folds easier and more precise. The next part of the envelope is the flap that will fold outward when you open the envelope. I'm scoring this extra 5 centimeter strip to attach to the other side of the envelope. Attaching the two parts, I've placed the cover of the envelope at the top, and I'm only adding some craft glue to the little strip that I just scored and folded. Once it was all put together, I glued the envelope into my journal and decorated it with some postal themed ephemera. For the actual habit tracker part, I used my craft paper square grid sticky notes and just cut 4 7x6 grids for my habit calendars. I only went with 4, but if you have more habits and hobbies you want to track, you could always use both sides of the envelope. I hope I can edit this out, but the noise level today is, I don't know. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I can hear babies crying, dogs barking, motorbikes. Is this my phone? This feels a little intrusive. No wonder I have such a headache. If I am able to clean up the audio quite a bit, I'll leave the next few seconds for you to hear what the audio sounds without being edited. To fill in the empty space, I drew a few of my favorite love letter doodles. What are your plans for Valentine's Day, if you do celebrate it? Do you do a simple dinner date? Or do you do something fun with friends? My partner and I don't really buy gifts. We mostly use it as an excuse to go on a dinner date at a place we love, or we'll order some takeaways and have a gaming night in. Finally, we've got the mood tracker for February. For this one, I looked up some letters and post-theme doodles on Pinterest to inspire me. I ended up creating a doodle for each of the 28 days in February. I forgot to show you my key in this video, but here is the key that I'll be using. I like the idea of coloring in my mood tracker. It makes it more fun to track my mood every day.
I hope, my dearest, that you do not think me foolish for speaking of such matters so openly, but the love I have for you is no mere passing fancy. It is a fire that has ignited within me, a flame that shall never be extinguished. If my words fail to express the depth of my feelings, know that my heart beats with a devotion that surpasses all else. Until I may once again be with you, I remain yours faithfully, your little mouse.